welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Can you believe that temperature on the field? If you don't think that's going to be a factor.
I'll tell you where it's really going to be a factor is for the big linemen, the offensive and defensive linemen generally, but specifically in the second half. That will wear them out more than anything.
In case you didn't think you saw it correctly, it's 117 degrees down on the field. The Redskins have won the toss. They'll receive. Brian Mitchell and James Thrash back deep. Thrash is 87, and Brad Dalwiso has the ball blow off the tee.
You know, you think of the Giants and the Meadowlands and the Giants kicking off, and that usually happens, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Opening kickoff, they put the ball in the tee, and the wind blows it off.
You know, you were talking a minute ago about these two teams hating each other. The Giants knocked the Redskins out of the playoffs last year. They haven't forgotten that. They've got some new players, but hate in this case is a good word.
And the new players even know it.
Mitchell at the 4. One of the better kickoff returners, punt returners in the league, but the special teams do their job. Let's look now at the Redskin offense. Quarterback by Gus Frerotte. 17 touchdown passes last year, his career high. He missed the last part of the season. In front of him, a remade Redskin line: Badger, Johnson, Raymer, Patton, and Cordonish. And the backs: Terry Allen, Larry Boyd, Westbrook, and Shepard. The wide receivers: Jamie Asher opens at tight end. We'll check the Giant defense in a moment. One of the best. Asher moves in motion. Terry Allen hit behind the line of scrimmage by Michael Strahan. Pro Bowl player last year. Let's look at that Giant defense now. A 4-man front. Bratsky, Hamilton, Harris, and Strahan, who just made that play. The linebackers: Armstead, Whitmer, and Buckley. Armstead is outstanding. The secondary, replacing Jason Sehorn, Conrad Hamilton. Sparks, the other cornerback. Darnes and Wooten, the two safeties. No backs. 2 men in motion. Redskin confusion.
You know, a lot of times both coaches, say that they didn't, use a lot of stuff in preseason, didn't want to show something. And that's part of the problem right there, that they didn't use these things in preseason. They didn't practice them in game. Then the first time they go to show it, then they don't know how to do it either.
Well, you get guys in there who played before and who played a lot, who they don't want to get hurt. But they don't get any use either.
Yeah, but sometimes I think that you have to practice in the preseason those things you're going to do in the regular season.
I agree. Asher again on the move. Handoff is to Terry Allen. Allen picked up about 5 before he's met by Sam Garnes.
You know, one of the biggest plays on this first drive here was Michael Strahan on that first down when he got the penetration. You know, a year ago he was in the Pro Bowl, and a lot of times you think of Pro Bowl defensive ends, the guys that get out wide and their pass rushers. But Michael Strahan is as good at playing the run as he is at being a pass rusher.
He's one of those guys who is not the speed rusher, as you say, but he can do it all. And that gets you in the Pro Bowl. 3 wide receiver offensive set.
He wasn't a bad speed rusher there, Pat. That was Michael Strahan.
Again, Strahan.
He's the guy you have to get blocked on 3rd down. You're going to see Strahan right here, and he's going to start right at this angle, and he's going to get right by sharp Cordonish. See, Cordonish doesn't get any help, though. I think especially on a long yardage situation, if Cordonish is going to have a chance today, he needs help blocking Michael Strahan. He can't do it himself on long yardage.
Matt Kirk, the punter for the Redskins. Amani Toomer back deep for the Giants. Good kick. Excellent kick. Late signal for a fair catch by Amani Toomer. Let's check out the Giant offense. A new and confident Danny Cannell opens as the starter this year. His record 7-2-1 as a starter after he replaced Dave Brown last year. In front of him, a big offensive line: Oben, Bishop, Scott Stone, and Gregg. Tiki Barber and Charles Way, the two runners. Callaway and Ike Hilliard back after that serious operation. And Howard Cross is the tight end. But they open with 3 wideouts. Cannell, high, good catch by Charles Way. One-handed stab. And here's the Redskin defense. They, of course, went out and acquired 2 monster defensive tackles, Stubblefield and Wilkinson in the middle, Lang and Kenny, the defensive ends. Derek Smith, Marcus Patton, and Ken Harvey, the linebackers. In the secondary, the 2 crafty, good veterans, Green and Dishman wide. 2nd and 3. This is Charles Way, who just made that catch, and he won't get the first down. He's knocked backwards by the Redskins. A loss of a couple. Ken Harvey led the defenders.
Yeah, that's one of the things that teams are going to do against the Redskins. A year ago, everyone felt they could run on them. And now you get those 2 big tackles in there, Dana Stubblefield and Dan Wilkinson. You know, you say, well, maybe we can still run on them, maybe not in the middle, but I think everyone is going to try, like the Giants did on that first play, to work the edges. You know, work off tackle and outside rather than straight at these 2 guys.
3rd and 4. Cannell out of the shotgun. Diving catch by Amani Toomer. Shy of the first down. About a yard shy.
Yeah, this is the thing that Danny Cannell really likes, is his shotgun. And out here, you see, you have to know where that first down marker is.
Yep.
And right here where Toomer, he should look right here. And maybe he did know, but maybe Danny Cannell didn't know. You know, you always can't blame the wide receiver for not getting the first down. The way Cannell threw that ball, Toomer had to come back for it.
Maynard to punt. They're trying to set up something to do. Brian Mitchell. For Brian Mitchell, he breaks a couple of tacklers, and he's got some room. Mitchell into Giant territory to the 46-yard line. Brought down by Garnes, but that puts him in good shape. 48-yard punt, return 38 yards.
Well, that's one of the things in preseason that you always see. Right at the end of preseason, special teams become important. And then in that game opener, you always see big special team plays, and you see big returns by defense. Here's one of the first big special teams play. Brian Mitchell, one of the best returners for a long time.
And he did most of that right by himself. Here's Farad. And it's complete to Leslie Shepard. That's the Redskin first down. 12-yard pickup. And they'll move to 6.
Yeah, we were talking to Gus Farad last night. One of the things that he really wants to concentrate on is his accuracy. And he said, you know, not only just hitting the guy with the ball, but hitting the guy with the ball in a position where he can continue to run with it.
As he just did.
Like that. And remember who, I think the best guy that I ever remember that way was Joe Montana, and he would throw to Jerry Rice. There was no one better.
Farad. Play pass. This is Terry Allen. Another Redskin first down. Inside the Giant 20 to the 19, knocked out of bounds by Garnes.
That's the old trick. That's the bootleg. You see, they even take they're going to bring the quarterback this way. They pull the right guard, and then they sneak Terry Allen out. So this is all the kind of play action. You see the guard pull the left. Gus Farad goes to the right, Terry Allen goes to the right, and they get what they call misdirection, and that's what you do to a very active defense like the Giants.
Get some guys running into each other on defense. Here's Terry Allen to about the 17. Couple.
See who was in front of Terry Allen then? Big Trey Johnson, who they say hasn't really played a lot in preseason, but is down in weight and is in great shape. And even Terry Allen was saying last night that Trey Johnson pulls so quickly that sometimes he beats you to the hole, that you really have to get out there and darn near grab onto him so that he doesn't get there before you do.
Down in weight means down to 326.
That's not bad, and I'll guarantee you, with this heat out there today, he's going to be down a heck of a lot more than that.
He sure is. There's Farad. Down in the to work on that spot we talked about in the pregame. That's where Jason Sehorn would have been.
Yeah, that's what you know that you're going to do. Gus Farrar was working about accuracy. He gets it. Here's Leslie Shepard. He's going to come up. He's going to come in. Then he's going to go back to the corner. Here's Conrad Hamilton right here. And you watch Hamilton. See, he bites right there on that post move. Anytime you run a good corner move, it is going to be stemmed from a good post move. Hamilton bit for the post.
Once he got him turned around. And a good throw by Farrar. Just as you were talking about before, where nobody was going to catch it except the intended receiver. Scott Clinton's extra point is good. And the Redskins look pretty sharp. 7-0 they lead.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl.
Twin package. Redskins 7, Giants nothing. Giants Stadium, Pat Summerall, John Madden. Redskins scoring drive, 4 plays. The touchdown pass for Ron Shepard, set up by that punt return by Brian Mitchell. Blanton's kickoff, fielded by David Patton. He has a little alley. Patton to the 31. Where Danny Cannell and the Giants offensive unit will come on and try to match that 7-0 lead by the Redskins. That's John Fox, the Giant defensive coordinator. The coach talking to defense after they watched Washington score a touchdown. This is Tiki Barber. Tripped up by Marcus Patton, but a gain of about 7.
Yeah, one thing of the Giants, being a good defensive thing, the other thing that goes with that is you have to be able to run the ball. Here's Tiki Barber, Charles Way, a good runner and a good blocker, and you see that they're just going to get a lead. You see Way starts in, he picks off his guy, and that opens up a nice 5-hole on the left side for Tiki Barber.
2nd and 3. Cannell to Way, and Way won't get the first. Wrapped up by Lang. A lot of people thought that Redskin defensive ends would be the weak spot. As you mentioned earlier, John, you got to run wide with them against him. But so far, and it's early, they've held up pretty well.
Well, and that was one of the things Norris Turner said last night, that both Kennard Lang and Kelvin Kinney, who plays the right defensive end, are really pretty solid guys against the run, because I think in trying to stay away from those guys in the middle, those defensive ends and outside linebackers are going to get a lot of work. There's no one out there.
Nobody. A flag on the play. That's Barber, who had spit out, and nobody went out with him.
That's that old lonesome end thing. They got out there. Sneak Tiki Barber out there, and the Redskins didn't see him.
But they're going to bring it back. Tom White is the referee.
I wonder if Tiki Barber was in the huddle, because he has to come in to be close to the huddle, because he wasn't in on the play before.
That's what this discussion is about, I'm sure, John.
Yeah, of course, remember we had the replays in the preseason. We don't have any replays now.
Illegal shift. 2 men on the offense moving prior to the snap and did not reset. 5-yard penalty. First down.
See, what you can do is, here's Tiki Barber. He's going out here. You see, he goes like he, oh, here's Tiki Barber there. He wasn't going off there. He followed the guy, but they had 2 guys moving at the same time. I don't see who they were. Unless they were the 2 receivers on this side. But they caught the Redskins. They put the 2 receivers to the left. Tiki Barber all by himself to the right.
Fake reverse coming. That's Barber. That was a 1st and 15 situation, and it's about 2nd and 16 now. Talking about that Redskin defense, and they were porous last year, and the previous year, and the year before that, and the year before that.
Yeah, that's the thing. And since 1994, you see there, they've been at the bottom of the league against the run.
2nd and 16. Cannell across for the short gain.
You know, again, I get back to those things that, you know, that the coaches had new stuff like sneaking Tiki Barber out there. No one covers them. But maybe in not playing those things in the preseason, again, this is the first time that they try them, so the guys don't get the little things. You know, the little things like, hey, you got to get out there and you have to set for 1 second before the ball snaps.
Greg Jones comes in as a pass rusher for the Redskins.
Look at this formation. 3 wide receivers out there.
Cannell out of the shotgun. Trying to set up a screen. The ball's deflected. Incomplete. Yeah, the receivers to the right tried to screen left.
That was the idea, is to get everyone out there to the right. Again, the 3 receivers out here. Then Cannell's going to get the ball and try and screen back to this side. You know, he's even looking him off to the right. But it didn't go because he got too much penetration by Dana Stubblefield. He had to hold the ball too long, and Stubblefield was able to get in on him and get that hand up.
And so Brad Maynard back to punt it again. His first one was 48 yards, brought back 38. Another good kick. I mean, this one's a rocket. Mitchell at the 11. Got another one set up, but there are flags all over the place.
Those are going to be flags against the return team. That's going to be against the Redskins. Yeah, the other thing they don't do a lot in preseason games is work their regular special teams as a group. And that's why in these first games you see so many big special teams plays.
Well, a lot of times, as you say, they don't come together as a group. Tom White with the indication it was an illegal block. But a lot of times some of your frontline players, when the season starts and the cutdowns come, they become members of the special teams.
And the guys who you cut.
Back at the waist. Number 88, return team. Half the distance to the goal. First down. Timeout.
That's the old deal.
Yep.
You can see the name. Don't flop them.
7-0 Redskins. Stadium in the Meadowlands. 7-0 the Redskins over the Giants. These two have been playing since 1932. Redskin ball back at their own 7-yard line, maybe 8. And the handoff is to Terry Allen, who gets it to the 10.
If we look at the last time the Redskins had the ball in their last drive, this is really what started it out. We talk about, you know, offense and defense all the time, but special teams started it, and then they ran this trick play, this bootleg to Terry Allen, and then they get down here and they throw the touchdown to Leslie Shepard, who ran a heck of a corner pattern on Conrad Henderson.
Yeah, it was a heck of a throw by Perrott, too. Up to the 20 and a first down. Ellsworth made the stop. First game of the regular season. In preseason, the Redskins that I mentioned were 1-3. Look at the point distribution.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, you know, and that's that first half. And you know, in the first half, they were beaten 53-10, and that's usually the part where you play your regulars the most time. So that's why a lot of people have been down on the Redskins.
Terry Allen again. Up to make the hit. Sparks. Allen took him on.
Yeah, and that's the thing that Whitby Sparks has to do, and that's the thing that he always does. You know, you think of a corner, and you think the corner's a guy outside, and he's always covering the wide receiver. But if the team is going to run a sweep, and you need a force anytime that you're going to have a coverage where that corner is up there, if they run a sweep, he becomes the primary force, and he's the guy that has to make that play.
And he did it well.
interesting thing there. The Redskins are really doing a lot of trick plays. I mean, they're doing a lot with Terry Allen because the Giants know they start every game that they're going to stop the run. So what they do is they give them a play that looks like a run. They fake the ball to Terry Allen, then they bootleg and come off it. So if the Giants are going to stop Terry Allen, the Redskins are going to try and make them pay for it by Gus throwing the ball off of play action.
3rd and 7. They got to hurry. He just barely got the play off. He throws quickly. He's incomplete, intended for Shepard. They couldn't hang on.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that every pass that they've thrown to a wide receiver, I think, has been out there at Conrad Hamilton. And I don't know that they're going to try Felipe Sparks much today. They know that Jason Sehorn is out. And Norv did say that he's going to use more 3 wide receivers today to get Sean Williams in there and get him working on a receiver.
And also working Stephen Alexander, the backup tight end, who's a good receiver downfield. This is Turk. And another good kick. And Amani Toomer at the 25. Upended at the 30. And a flag on the play. Amani Toomer is one of those guys who came back after a couple of disappointing years. One beset by injury, the other just afraid to air it out a little bit. And this year he came back with new dedication, and everybody raves about him.
Ineligible lineman, downfield, number 80, kicking team, 5-yard penalty, replay 4th down.
That's Stephen Alexander, the 3rd of the Redskins tight ends.
And that's a rookie type mistake because we know that on the punt, only the 2 outside guys can leave when the ball snaps. Everyone else has to wait until the ball's kicked. So what Alexander did is he went before the ball was kicked after the ball was snapped.
So Amani Toomer will get another shot. They'll make him, the Redskins, kick again.
And the thing that you do is you see Alexander there. He's really playing a guard position. But you don't want him to look back, obviously, to the punter. So you usually have him count. 1001, 1002, 1003, go!
Turk's punt is not as good this time, and Toomer gets away from the first man, hurdles another, and gets into Redskin territory. That's about where the Redskins started on their touchdown drive. Washington over the Giants, 7-0, 2:49 left in the first quarter.
NFL Sunday is brought to you by Toyota. Every day belongs to you. Make it count. Toyota every day. By Smooth Refreshing Michelob Light. Beer or Michelob. By Visa, the official card of the NFL. It's everywhere you want to be. And by Microsoft. Where do you want to go today?
Later today, a special edition of Fox Baseball when Mark McGwire will have the chance to etch a place in baseball history as he looks to break Roger Maris' home run record. All starts today at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, only on Fox. That's Charles Way. Stanley Richard with the stop.
Yeah, we talk about the heat pad over there. The one I can see, it looks like it's darn near on that field, 150 degrees.
Almost. It's September in New York.
Yeah, and then you can see that the guys on the sidelines are really starting to feel it. On the Redskins side, they have these fans here, and they got a mist coming out of them. On the Giants side, they're dry.
This is Tiki Barber. Right now for an NFL update, let's return to Kevin Frazier at the Fox Network Center in Los Angeles.
Guys, 4th and inches for the Lions at Lambeau. Santana Dotson strips Scott Mitchell. Leroy Butler comes up with the ball. He's headed home. A 41-yard touchdown. Green Bay leads 10-0. Let's go back to Pat and John.
Giants first down at the Redskin 35. Washington leads 7-0. Passes out to Chris Callaway. And Callaway out of bounds at the 26-yard line.
The Giants are really getting good mixture here, Pat. I mean, they run away, they're running Tiki Barber, they throw the ball out here to Callaway. And watch how quickly Danny Cannell gets rid of this ball. It's really not even a three-step run. I mean, he just goes boom, 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 hits the ball out there to Callaway. Callaway knows that he has a defensive back, Darrell Green, behind him. He knows you just can't catch it there and get tackled. He makes a nice little move, a spin, and picks up 5 or 6 more yards.
Second in the yard.
I was just going to say, that was getting the ball out of there quickly.
That's Charles Way. And that should be enough for a Giant first down.
Yeah, at some point you can say they got Dana Stubblefield, they got Dan Wilkinson, they got these guys, but at some point when you get in that short yardage, you still got to bang these guys away and take the ball straight up in there. You can't go sideways all the time. Here they do. They get a good double team started on Stubblefield, come off and get just enough push to get that first down.
First and 10. Cannell back to throw on first. Hilliard. And Hilliard inside the 20 to about the 16, stopped by Harvey.
Yeah, that's what I like about Ike Hilliard. And the little that I've watched him is anytime he catches a ball, he thinks that he can score a touchdown with it. He's not just satisfied just catching the ball like Callaway to play before he makes a move. But Ike Hilliard is always making a move. He's always trying to take it all the way. Watch him here. I mean, he just doesn't catch the ball. He's looking now what he can do after he catches it, and he keeps running to pick up more yardage all the time.
And now, to Barber. A couple of yards, maybe. That should be the last play of this first quarter. That is the end of the first quarter with the score Washington 7, the Giants nothing, and Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. You think it's not hot down there?
That's what they did between the corner. That's the Derek Smith linebacker there. He had to have a little help to get down the other end of the field from his trainer.
Here's Cannell back to throw and throws quickly through the hands of Hilliard, I believe.
That was a big play for the Giants because in not hitting Hilliard, we're going to have to settle for a field goal attempt here.
Brad Dalwiso.
One thing we've seen Tiki Barber and Charles Way do most of the running for the Giants today. One guy we know isn't going to run for the Giants today is Tyrone Wheatley because he's not even active. That was kind of a surprise.
Yes, it was. 35 yards out for Dalwiso. Maynard is the holder, but also the punter. Low snap. Maynard got it down, and Dalwiso hits it. So it's 7-3 with 14:51 left to play in the first half at the Meadowlands. Tonight, after an all-new World's Funniest, it's an all-new Holding the Baby. Then a can't miss Simpsons and the smash hit That 70s Show, followed by the X-Files. It all starts tonight at 7, 6 Central here on Fox. Redskins as Dalwiso kicks off. This is James Thrash. Bounces out to about the 30. They'll put it down at the 29. The Redskins will have it there, first and 10. Corey Blackwell made the stop.
NFL Sunday is brought to you by Chrysler, engineered to be great cars. By Little Caesars, Pizza featuring the highest quality ingredients and dough made fresh daily. By Priority Mail from the U.S. Postal Service. And by AC Delco Automotive Parts. AC Delco, if you're not asking for it, you're asking for it.
That looks like the right idea.
Didn't you ever do that when you jump off their cannonball?
Sure.
I'll tell you, big old guys can do big old cannonballs.
Off the bridge, that's Terry Allen. Cuts back and picks up about 6. Conrad Hamilton made the stop. This heat You hate to keep talking about it, belaboring it, but it is hot down on that field.
And I think it kind of sneaked up on him. There's Derek Smith. He's having a heck of a time with it. He had a thing there at the change of the quarter, and the trainer was out there helping him. And he's been over there on the bench on oxygen ever since the Redskin defense came off the field.
That's not fog. That's that spray. And you need it. He runs hard. First down, Redskin. Our overhead shots are courtesy of the Goodyear blimp. Stars and Stripes from Pompano Beach, Florida. This year, Goodyear is celebrating its 100th anniversary and the 73rd consecutive year for the blimp operation. Almost as long as the Redskins and Giants have been playing.
Well, this is really a great start to a season.
Yeah.
You can start here, and it was ironic. Last year, we didn't do one game here at Giant Stadium.
First time since we've been together.
And really kind of missed it, and it's nice to be back. Opening day, sellout crowd. You got bunting all over the place. Pretty good deal. Got the Giants and the Redskins. Farad hits James Thrash, another Redskin first down. Farad's throwing the ball so far very, very well. One thing that's impressive about Farad is how quickly he's getting rid of the ball. You see, here's Michael Strahan, and we know that if Farad's going to get rid of the ball quickly and have success passing, they have to block Michael Strahan. Now, they figured that out, and you see what they're doing to him now. They're starting to double him, and that's the thing that gives Gus Farad that time. Farad is 5 out of 7, 1 touchdown, 68 yards. They've always done a lot of shifting. Good yardage for Terry Allen. Did you hear someone on the sideline said, "Oh yeah, TA, wait to see the sticks"? You see, that's the thing, that he's going to get in there, he's going to bounce to the outside, he's going to use his straight arm, and then he is going to get beyond the sticks and get that first down. Watch straight arm here. Doink! Right there, he knocks that guy off, Conrad Hamilton, just enough to almost get the first down, but he was short of the sticks. Terry Allen's a tough guy. He'll get the carry again. I beg your pardon. That's Stephen Davis, who replaced Terry Allen, and he did get the first down. And you see Larry Bowie, who's the fullback. You know, usually the fullback is going to be the lead block. Now, what happens is Bowie starts here. Now, the lead is going to go to this side. Now, he comes over, shifts over here, gets in this position, and leads into that hole. See, so you can't tell before the ball snaps where the lead's going to be, but it's where he ends up. And that's the side they go to. But they don't show you that by lining up there. They show you that by shifting to it. 3 wide receivers set up for Ron to throw it. Going deep, he's got a man open. Got a Redskin touchdown. Westbrook. And again, that's pass protection. There's going to be a penalty marker. But I tell you, he had time. That was great pass protection. Gus Farad had time to wait and to look and to give his receivers time to make a couple of moves down there. This, I believe, is against the Giants.
Holding.
No, it's the Redskins against Bordanis.
First down.
Well, we were just talking about the time, and the guy that's going to give him, heck, is that Strahan. He's going to be the rusher. Here's Strahan here. Here's Bordanis here. This is what they call. You see Bordanis starting right there. Now, when Strahan went to take the inside, it looked like he tackled him.
The Redskins were acting. It looked like it was against the Giants in the beginning. They were celebrating touchdown.
And then they saw that flag there, and they knew that it was holding against them because it was called by the referee.
First and 20. Farad back to throw. Will not have time. Hamilton. And right now, for an NFL update, let's return to Kevin Frazier at the Fox Network Center in Los Angeles.
Pat, John, we profiled Randy Moss during the pregame show, and already the rookie producing. The 48-yard touchdown pass, and watch the concentration. Great catch. Vikes lead Tampa Bay 14-0 in the second quarter. Let's go back to New Jersey.
The Minnesota team looks pretty good. They got a lot of weapons, don't they, John?
And I think it's still going to be their defense, because they've always had weapons. They've always been able to throw the ball, run the ball a little. But can they stop the other teams from throwing the ball?
Timeout, Washington. North Turner wants to talk it over. They'll have 2 left in the remainder of the first half. 7-3, the Redskins lead. (7-3) at the Meadowlands. The Redskins over the Giants. Washington just took a timeout, so they have 2 left. Giants have all of theirs left.
If it weren't for that sharp Pordanish hold, this score could be 14-3. Michael Westbrook made a heck of a move, and Gus Brock made a heck of a throw for a touchdown that was called back.
2nd and 31. Down goes Perrott, Chad Bratsky.
Chad Bratsky ran right over and around Brad Badger. I think part of him around and part of it over. You'll see, here's Badger here. Here's Bratsky right here, and he's going to take off right into him and then come right around that corner. The big old Bratsky gets the push where he starts around him and then right through that left shoulder.
That's the old bull rush.
That's the thing, when you give that guy that short corner the way Badger did on that play, a guy like Bratsky's going to take it.
Handoff is to Mitchell. Mitchell gets up to the 45. The Redskins will have to punt.
The Giants had good defense after they dodged the bullet with that touchdown that was called back. Big play by Bratsky. Big old Chad Bratsky. I met his brother, the other Bratsky, yesterday. He was there. Came to see Chad.
That's not him, is it?
After 7. His brother was a lot smaller than big old Bratsky.
Oh, I see.
I mean, the Bratsky that I met was smaller than the Bratsky that's playing here today.
That wasn't him then.
That could have been. He was about 100 pounds less.
Matt Turk punts away from Toomer. It's out of bounds at about the 15, where the Giants will take over. 9:43 left to play in the first half, and the Redskins lead the Giants 7-3. Don't forget, later today it's a special edition of Fox Baseball. Mark McGwire will have a chance to etch a place in baseball history as he looks to break Roger Maris' home run record. All starts today at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on Fox. I guess we better change our forecast.
Well, yeah, I didn't think that anyone would do it, just the odds against it, but it looks like a couple of them are going to do it.
Tiki Barber, McGwire, and Sosa, maybe.
Yeah, and then I wouldn't count Ken Griffey out. The thing is once you get these big guys in the middle, Stubblefield and Wilkinson, you just can't, not run there at all. I mean, you have to make them stay there, stay at home. I mean, you have to make them not be running out all the time. So one way to do that is to run right at them. And if they start running right out, then you can cut back against them.
Canal. Incomplete, intended for Barber, right in his hands.
One thing I noticed the Giants today are using Tiki Barber a lot as a wide receiver. They put 2 wide receivers on one side, Tiki Barber on the other side. Of course, there was a play earlier where the Redskins didn't see nor cover Tiki Barber out there. And there weren't a penalty on that play. It would have been a big play for the Giants.
3rd and 7. Both teams seem to have settled in a bit now.
The Giants haven't settled in because they don't have their play right in their huddle.
That's right.
Danny Cannell was trying to get something or someone in there, and he had to burn a timeout here.
So they have 2 left now. 9:04 left to play in the first half. Washington 7, the Giants 3. Back at Giants 7. It's the Giants Stadium. 7-3. Washington leads. It's 3rd and 7. The Giants, who just took a timeout, have 2 left. The Redskins also have 2 left. Danny Cannell, the shotgun, a back on either side of him. Sounds like a change. He moved Hilliard back in motion. Juravicius is wide open.
Boy, that's a player that they all like, is Juravicius. He's a rookie, and he is a big guy. You look at him and you say, how can a guy 6'4", 235 pounds be a wide receiver? But they say that he has it all. Now, Danny Cannell was looking over to his right side. Here's Juravicius here, and you're going to see him come right across. And he's big and strong, and he can just break through a guy. And then it doesn't look like some of those defensive backs are too anxious to tackle him, does it?
That's Barber. Cut it back for a gain of about 4. If he's 6'4", I know we walked by him in the locker room yesterday. Juravicius, I'm speaking of. He's about 6'6".
Yeah, he's a big guy, and he can do all those things that a wide receiver can do. In fact, we got him right there. He's 6'5".
Yeah.
We just gained an inch. He could be 6'6", but the thing is, he can move, and I think he's probably been the most impressive of the new players for the Giants this preseason.
Incomplete. Intended for Howard. Cross, no flag.
Well, Howard Cross is trying to get one. It looked like Jesse Campbell was there a little early. Again, if the ball's in the air, you can't hit him. Here's Howard Cross. You're going to see Jesse Campbell. He's number 37. And it looks like he does climb up his back before the ball gets there. Yeah. That's the first game of the regular season for the officials, too, huh, Pat?
Yep. His arrival time was a little early.
Yeah, it sure was. Big old Howard Cross, he knew it. The Giants fans here knew it. The officials didn't.
4 wide receivers this time for the Giants. Here's Cannell. Throwing for Barber. It hit the Redskin defender, who was Marcus Patton, hit him in the back of the head. How can that be interference?
Unless what they're going to say is that if it's interference, did he have his hands on him? He wasn't looking for the ball or playing the ball. Now, if he didn't have his hands on him, then it can't be interference. But they got Marcus Patton out here isolated. That's what they were looking for.
Pass interference. Number 53.
That's what they called.
It's a first down.
So again, it's not for the ball hitting him in the helmet. You see, they get the isolation out here. Now it's going to be, are the hands on him before the ball gets there?
That's a tough call. I mean, that's a tough call. The ball hits him in the back.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a problem there. And again, that's no penalty unless it happened before that.
Howard Cross makes the reception. Knocked down by Jesse Campbell. Excuse me.
I was just going to say, you don't like to think that they make up things. Here's another flag, but on the play before that, Jesse Campbell, that was a penalty. Now, you don't like to think that maybe they think that they owe him one, and they gave him one there. But it is a thought, maybe kind of jumps in between your ears once in a while.
Often does.
I know as a coach it did.
Well, you never said anything, though. I know.
No, I said a whole heck of a lot. A whole heck of a lot more than I'm saying right now.
Well, now, speaking of getting even.
Well, so you get one, you give one, you get one.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 86, offense, 15-yard penalty. It'll be second down.
Juravicius is number 86.
And we were just saying that Juravicius doesn't really look like a wide receiver, and he must do some things that wide receivers don't do too.
Perhaps a little vicious.
Yeah, it's after the play's over.
And you're going to wind your hold it down.
I don't know about that. That's a little picky. I mean, that stuff happens in football after every play, and has happened for, how long have these two teams been playing? Did you say
66.
66 years. Yeah. Stuff like that has been happening for 66 years.
And a lot worse.
That's not a penalty, no.
Second down at 24.
Teams have to get themselves together. You have a feeling here that these officials going to have to get themselves together now, huh?
Hilliard goes in motion, and now he comes back this direction. And Cannell goes back to throw. Incomplete. In the direction of Hilliard.
Here's the thing that we don't have a penalty now. We had 3 of them in a row, and in fact, I think those were 3 bad calls in a row.
I agree.
Now watch, after the whole thing is over, Dishman goes up and says, "Whoa, that's the way to hustle."
Maybe that should be a penalty. Late.
Against Dishman, you mean?
Yeah. Here's Cannell out of the shotgun. The pass rush is not there. And Charles Way gets the reception. Stopped by Marcus Patton.
Through all that back and forth and teeter-tottering, the Giants have to punt now. You think with all this moving up and down the field and plays that the guy would have, you'd think we'd have a little more score than we have up in there, huh?
7-3.
But we have to remember the Redskins did have one called back.
A lot of teeter-tottering, as you said.
Yeah, isn't that what you used to call like a seesaw, a teeter-totter, where a guy get on one side, someone else will get on the other side, and then you'd get down, you'd jump off, and the other guy would fall down?
Yeah, or you're trying to buck them off. Those are simple toys in those days.
Huck and buck.
53-yard punt. Today's aerial shots are courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes, based in Pompano Beach. The controls is pilot Larry Chambers from Lighthouse Point in Florida.
You know, all
guarantee it's no hotter there than it is here.
And all these guys knew that this was going to be a real fight in a rivalry game, and you know, these teams don't like each other, but the thing I think that has to be the surprise to them is this heat, because the Giants practiced here yesterday, the Redskins had a walk through here yesterday, and heat was not a topic.
We were here for both, and it wasn't uncomfortable at all. And Terry Allen. And Terry will take him on. He doesn't run out of bounds, does he?
And he took on Tito Wooten on that one, and that's the old thing. You get a guy, a defensive back one-on-one, and then you want to run over him, and as a defensive back, if you're Tito Wooten, you want to run over him. So that's exactly what happened there. You had a defensive guy who wanted to run over an offensive guy, and they ended up both running over each other. But the Redskins got the first down.
First and 10 at the 29. At the 34, make it. Terry Allen breaks one tackle, gets up to about the 35, picked up a yard. And Corey Whitmer made the stop.
Yeah, Keith Hamilton almost made a heck of a play. The thing that will usually foul up any running play, in fact, it did foul up that running play, is getting penetration. Now watch Keith Hamilton here. He's going to get, and you want your defensive linemen to play on this side of the ball. And when they get to that side of the ball, they're going to disrupt the run. You see Hamilton right there?
Yep.
He's really the guy that made that play a successful play for the Giant defense.
Barat out of the shotgun. Inside. Terry Allen made the reception, gets past the 40. Not enough for a first. It'll be about 3rd and 3. Terry Allen is a leader. He's tough. He had both knees completely rebuilt in his 9th year out of Clemson, and he still plays with just as much enthusiasm and just as much toughness as he ever did.
Well, you know, the one thing that you said earlier about Terry Allen, he's a man, and I think that kind of capsulizes his whole deal.
No running backs. Barat drops. Gets it outside, and no coverage by the Giants. Leslie Shepard. A flag on the play. This might be a face mask.
The Giants have that. They have a first down, and that is going to be a face mask against the Washington Redskins. This is an interesting formation here. When you get a shift here, you can see that there's no backs here in the backfield at all with the Redskins. And they got 3 wide receivers on this side, two receivers on the other side, and they run a stem thing in there where Shepard starts the end, stops, and then goes back out.
And here comes the face mask.
You see, that was Leslie Shepard there. He goes for the straight arm, which is okay against Conrad Hamilton, and then Hamilton grabs him in the face mask.
Injured Redskin is Albert Cannell. O'Connell.
One of the things that Norv Turner was talking about last night, that he feels that he has 5 good receivers on this team. Michael Westbrook, Shepard, Connell, who we just see down there, Chris Thomas, and James Thrash. And that if something happens to one of his starters, he feels like you know that he has enough guys that he can go in and keep his passing game going. Said he hasn't felt that way in the last couple of years.
There's not a big drop-off. Now he may only have 4.
You know, today you use so many formations that are 3rd and 4 wide receivers that you have to get this. Here he is right here. Here's Connell, and you see what happens. He was just trailing like he was an offensive guy. He was an offensive guy who was hit by a defensive guy without the ball. He was looking for a block. There was no one in front of him to block, and one of the defensive guys just came and hit him.
First down, Redskins now at the Giant 36.
That's accuracy hasn't been bad, you know.
No, it hasn't.
In the preseason, you know, the last preseason game against Buffalo, he really looked terrible. But so far, yeah, he's 7 out of 9, 92 yards, has 1 touchdown pass, and has 1 touchdown pass called back.
First down, Washington. Terry Allen behind for Rock. Here comes the reverse. Stacked up in the backfield first. And the tackle made after Leslie Shepard carried the ball. Hit in the backfield by Jesse Armstead, who missed and then recovered.
Yeah, Scott Gallion made a heck of a play on that. I mean, Scott Gallion is number 52. And you're going to see him come right here. He's going to miss right here. Now watch it. He misses, he gets up, he pursues, and he catches and makes that tackle from the back. That is a heck of a play. How would you like to be Conrad Hamilton?
Big Trey Johnson.
Here comes Trey Johnson at you.
You can't even see daylight on either side. They're out. Allen hammers down near another Redskin first down. A little bit shy, perhaps, but he is running well.
I'll tell you, he's not only running well, but they've found something over here on this left side where they can take it in here, get that guard pulling, and just knock someone down. And Terry Allen has had success in taking the ball to the left and then bouncing it out wide to the left.
3rd and about a half yard. Davis has replaced Allen, and he won't get that first down. He stopped the dance, and you just can't dance.
That's the thing. When Terry Allen left it short and Terry Allen had to take himself out, you hate to see that because he is a good short yardage runner. But again, we talk about penetration. We talk about getting on this side of the line of scrimmage. The Giants do that right there, and Stephen Davis doesn't have a chance to get a first down. See, now here you look, Stephen Davis looks like he has a little hole, and then look how that thing closes up. That's putting the triangle on the running back.
Blanton from 46 yards out. And he is good from 46. And that'll change the score to 10-3. Redskins leading. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, Kevin Frazier and Ron Pitts will have the scores and highlights from around the league, plus Joe Buck will have a report from St. Louis as Mark McGuire looks for home run number 61 today. Our Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second stats. That's all coming up on the Visa halftime report.
You know, one thing about this Giant defense is you know, that old bend but don't break type of thing. The minute you look like you're starting to pick them, some guy like Keith Hamilton makes a play. Michael Strahan makes a play. Throws you for a loss, and then you have to end up trying for a field goal. And that's why their defense always keeps them in games. Now, on offense, then they need Danny Cannell to do something, and they got to get a good running game going themselves, because those two things go hand in hand. Good, strong defense and good running game.
Well, you ask anybody on either team or any team, what do you have to do to win? The first thing they say is we got to stop the run.
Those are two things you have to do. You have to run and stop the run.
That's David Patton. Just shy of the 30. 2:46 left to play in the first half. The Redskins up by a touchdown.
And I think that Danny Cannell has to know, being a young team, in fact, the Giants are still the youngest team in the NFL, that when another team has the ball like that, and when they get, the score's only 10-3, when they get a field goal, you don't have to come in here and panic. You don't have to rush anything. You don't have to push anything. You don't have to force anything.
Tiki Barber squirted through there for about a 5-yard pickup when it looked as if nothing was there.
I like what Tiki Barber did right there. When instead of running out of bounds, you get to a point where you either have to run out of bounds or just turn it up and get what you can get. He turned it up and got what he could get. See right here, he starts like he's going to go out of bounds, but I'm not going to run out of bounds. He turns back in, and by turning back in, he picked up another couple of yards.
Hilliard wide open, and Hilliard scoots down the sideline, knocked out of bounds by Stanley Richards. No flag.
Ooh, that's no panic. That's not worrying about things. That's not forcing anything. Find something, work something. Watch here, watch Hilliard here. He's looking for the ball. He gets his hand up in the air. That means they're not covering me. I'm wide open. The same thing happened to the Redskins in preseason. He sees him, gets him the ball, and he's right up the field.
Now, where did Dishman go?
What you're going to see is a blitz. You see both the corner and the safety blitz. Now, one of them were wrong.
Yep.
Both of them blitzed. Dishman came, the safety came on that side, on that same side, and there was no one for Ike Hilliard.
There was no defense like that.
No, there isn't. That's one where either the corner is going to come, Dishman is going to come, and the safety takes his guy, or the safety is going to come, and Chris Dishman has to stay with Ike Hilliard.
2 minutes left in the first half. The Giants down deep in Redskin territory.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Miller Lite, who reminds you to enjoy Miller Lite with friends.
On first down, Charles Wade has his way.
The interesting play, Pat, about that play to Ike Hilliard, where the Redskins brought both their corner and the safety, but the Giants, because they went play pass to that side out of the I formation, they had two guys there to block the two blitzers that came. So they were not only able to block it, but that made them be free to find Ike Hilliard.
2nd and 3. Way again. He pounds his way close to the 10 and should have enough for a first down, Giants.
The Giants have plenty of time. With a minute 12 seconds here, they still have 2 timeouts, so they can methodically work their way in from here. I mean, they don't have to rush, they don't have to pressure anything, because again, with the 2 timeouts, they have plenty of time.
Way again is the single back. Cannell gives to Charles Way again. Breaks one tackle inside the 10 to about the 8.5.
Yeah, I think this is the type of thing that everyone is going to try and do against the Redskins. Start inside and keep bouncing to the outside and run off what they call the edges.
This is a Giant timeout. They have 1 left now.
I would think that this would be a good passing down. I would expect the Giants would get into a shotgun here and throw 2, because if you run another one and you don't get a touchdown, then you're going to have to throw on 3rd down, and everyone knows it. So this is kind of one of those downs that they don't know if you're going to run or you're going to throw, because you still have a timeout, and I think is a lot better throwing situation than 3rd down would be.
If you run, a sprained left knee for Connell. His return is questionable. Plus, you have to use your other timeout in that situation you were talking about to get the field goal team in. They're going to do exactly what you said. And the pass is picked off. There's a flag in the end zone. A flag in the end zone.
The one that advantage you get by throwing on second down is you don't force anything.
Right.
That's where a young quarterback drives you crazy. You throw on second. If the guy's not wide open, throw it. They're going to catch a break here because the penalty's going to be against the Redskins.
Holding against the Redskins.
And, of course, that's an automatic first down.
Right, right. They have 35 seconds and 1 timeout left.
Well, they can really throw, too, and they can run.
See who it's against.
Holding, number 53, defense, half the distance to the goal. That's a first down.
That's Marcus Patton.
Marcus Patton is a middle linebacker.
He doesn't think so.
And you're going to see he's right in here about the 5-yard line. It's going to be right there is what they call. These guys are awfully kicky today, Pat.
Here's Cannell rolling and throwing. Touchdown. Chris Callaway got loose.
And how in the heck Callaway did that? Chris Dishman is right there with him.
Yeah.
Chris Dishman, I think, thought he went to the outside. Chris Callaway turned to the inside.
Either that or he thought the play was over.
Well, watch it. Here they are out here. And you see Dishman, look, he thinks he's going to come over here. He's looking out here. He continues to look out, and he stops right there, and then Callaway comes back to the inside. I think Dishman thought Callaway was just going to run out of bounds, but he kept working, and then right at the end, stepped back inside of Chris Dishman.
And Cannell threw it back inside.
They watch the catch here. Dishman is right on him. Here they are. You see he starts to work to the outside. Now Dishman goes to get underneath him on the outside. And when he does that, Chris Callaway works back to the inside.
And Danny Cannell had the ball there on the inside.
Chris Dishman was going after the interception. Watch the hit that Danny Cannell takes. There's Dan Wilkinson. He's going to drive him right into the turf after he throws it. You know something about throwing touchdown passes? Being driven into the turf doesn't hurt. That was a sign when he put his head back like that. He felt pretty good. That was a good drive by the Giants.
Yes.
A good drive by Danny Cannell, although the play before the touchdown pass, he did force that. They caught a break behind him. The interference where they got the first down. The defensive holding where they got the first down.
So it's 10-10 with 28 seconds. When the Redskins get the ball back, they'll have 2 timeouts left. Now Wiesel to kick it off.
So you can tell that these two teams, because the Giants knocked the Redskins out of playoff contention. Of course, the Giants won the division, but since the end of the season, these two teams have been working towards this game.
They've been talking about it. Now Wiesel bounces it down. Brian Mitchell. Mitchell gives the Redskins pretty good field position out to the 41. Don't forget, coming up on the Visa halftime report, Kevin Frazier and Ron Pitts will have scores and highlights from around the league. Plus, Joe Buck will have a report from St. Louis as Mark McGuire looks for home run number 61. Our Fox Sports ticker will have up to second stats. That's all coming up on the Visa halftime report.
And I'll tell you, I bet both of these teams are going to use a lot of that intravenous stuff, you know, where they put those needles in their arms and they put sugar in them to get fluids back in them, because I don't think they got ready for this heat like I said before.
I don't think so either. Here comes the blitz, and Perrott gets away from one man, gets the ball to Mitchell. Now there, the ball comes loose, a flag on the play.
The flag was a late hit. I mean, someone came diving in there. I think it was Sharp Ordonez. It looked like Sharp Ordonez went running over there after the play was over and just dove head first into the pile.
10 seconds left. It's against the Redskins.
Yeah, that has to be against number 67. I don't know what he was doing.
What he was thinking.
Foul, unnecessary roughness, number 67. During the continuing action, it'll still be first down, 15 yards.
Yeah, big old Sharp Ordonez. I mean, he must have been down and then saw something he didn't like. And you see right there at the end, he just comes and picks off one of those giant guys.
Yeah. We're down to 10 seconds. Scores tied 10-10. A lot of 10s. First and 24 after the penalty, and now they'll just sit on it. They'll be glad to get into the locker room, both teams, to cool off a little bit, maybe.
And then they're going to have to come out for the second half, just like we started the game. Remember we said both these teams, they start 0-0, and you're thinking of the division, the rivalry, and who's going to win. And then the score is 0-0 at the beginning of the game. Now you got a 10-10, so they have to go in and talk about doing the same things that they talked about doing 2 hours ago.
Because this one counts. And there are only 16 games to get it done. Sold out Giants Stadium. We're at halftime. The score is Washington 10, the Giants 10. Each week, Fox Sports will have a question at halftime of our games that viewers can answer on our internet site. This week, you'll make the call. Which team, the Giants or the Redskins, will have the most rushing yards in the second half? Fans can answer this bonus question by logging on to foxsports.com, and we wish you good luck. Terry Allen has gained the bulk of the yards rushing for the Redskins. You'd expect that as long as he's healthy. Let's see what he's done.
Well, you see that he ran to the left 4 times for 21 yards. He ran up the middle 2 times for only 3 yards. Of course, one time when they really needed on short yardage, he wasn't in there. And he ran to the right 5 times for 30 yards. So most of the yards that Terry Allen has made has been around the right and the left side and not up the middle. Here we see the pitch and him getting out to the left side and getting good blocking out there. Here's another one out to the left side where he takes it in and then bounces it out. Here's another one out here to the left side. And so most of his success has really been to that sideline.
All right now let's go down to Suzy Kolber on the sideline.
Pat, I spoke to both head coaches at halftime, and both said the exact same thing. They're satisfied that their teams are making the plays, but critical penalties are killing them. I guess not surprising for 2 teams that struggled in the preseason, and this is week 1. Pat, John?
It is a warm week 1 as well at the Meadowlands.
And I think the things that they struggled on, though, in the preseason, they really didn't struggle on in this first half. I mean, they really looked pretty sharp, but both coaches, and I agree with that, the thing that killed them, the penalties, they haven't had any turnovers. That's a good part. The Giants did get a couple of breaks, I think, in the penalty department. They had 1 interception in the end zone called back, and they had a touchdown of the Redskins called back. So I think the Giants in that penalty part, I think they got a break.
David Patton gets Blanton's tipped off. He gets some good blocks. Patton down the sideline. Touchback is in Redskin territory at the 44. Just inside the 45 maybe. Scott Galen got a great block to spring him loose.
See, the first thing you want to do is to get up into your wedge. So you start up in the middle, you see the wedge there, then that draws all the Redskins to the inside, and then you pop it and take it to the outside.
And so the Giants take over at the Redskin 44. First and 10, Cannell back to Barber. Barber has it strung out and runs out of bounds. The Giants rushing in the first half. Figured they'd go outside.
Well, the thing is, they ran 4 times for 17 yards to the left and 4 times for 23 yards to the right. They've only gone up the middle 3 times for 9 yards, and that's one thing that you have to do in your game planning. I think you don't want to make a living running out of strength, but you do have to go out of strength to keep them honest.
Second and 11. Barber lost one. Cannell back to throw. Fires outside the Howard cross just as he was hit.
I tell you, Dan Wilkinson came straight up the middle, and Danny Cannell was lucky that he got that one away. Watch him. I mean, here's Wilkinson. Here's what he's going to add. He's just going to power right through Ron Stone here. He's going to take off here, and he's going to go right through him, right through Stone and the center. And Lance Scott is there, too. And here he comes right in this area. And Danny Cannell better throw that ball when he does.
Third down. Cannell will throw it again. Going deep. And a stride on Dishman. Just out of reach.
Yeah, I don't think that's Dishman out there now. I wonder if something happened to Dishman. I think that was Darrell Pounds out there playing that left corner.
You're right.
And, you know, Dishman, the last play that we saw him in there is when he got beaten for the touchdown down there. And then this first series of the second half, Darrell Pounds has been in there.
The Giant punter, Brad Maynard back. Brian Mitchell, line drive kick. That's out of bounds at about the 5-yard line. Mitchell had no chance to return. Brad Maynard just aimed it end over end toward the sideline.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl.
Back at the Meadowlands, the spray on the sideline. Both coaches running back and forth, encouraging and telling their players to keep taking fluids. This is a fake to Terry Allen. This is Farrat. It is intercepted. Conrad Hamilton came up with it.
And they didn't blow the whistle either. That ball's going to be down there in the 2-yard line.
Yep.
The interception is going to stand, and the run back is going to stand.
Farrat might be hurt.
I mean, coming out of your end zone, you have to be careful that you don't force anything. That's a heck of a play by Conrad Hamilton in not letting that ball hit the ground.
Tito Wooten knocked it up in the air.
And then Tito Wooten hit it up in the air a second time. Conrad Hamilton kept it alive, and then he makes the run.
That may have been Felipe Sparks that kept it up in the air.
Look at Leslie Shepard. He's down there saying, there's no one down here. Leslie Shepard went deep. Gus Farrat threw the ball short. And right there is where Gus Farrat took the shot. Gus Farrat is just coming off the field right now. But that was a misread. It looks like his left shoulder, left wrist, left arm. A lot of times they grab the wrist when it is the shoulder.
First and goal, Giants at the 3. That was a heck of a play. Charles Wade. Touchdown. The dive got him in.
Well, the guy they were going to work on, Hamilton, makes the play for him, gets it down to the 2. But if you're going to run the ball in, Charles Wade is the guy that's going to do it for the Giants. You start here, he starts inside, like we said earlier, and then you want to bounce things out against this Redskin defense. Work the edges. Start in, hold him inside, then work to the outside. In fact, it did look like they're working on Gus Farrat's shoulder.
Left shoulder. For the extra point, Dalwiso. Take the lead 17-10. 13:06. Things do have a way of developing quickly. Wade, touchdown.
Other side.
All the way on the other side. 17-10, the Giants over the Redskins. Just beginning the third quarter, the Giants just scored to take the lead. Dalwiso one more time has the ball blow off the tee. Gus Farrat has a sprained left shoulder, we're told from the Washington bench, but will be back.
I would bet when the Redskins get the ball now that Trent Green will probably be the quarterback.
Dalwiso lines one deep into the end zone, and they'll down it there.
Farrat's down there, and he's already, he has his helmet on. He got hit, you know, trying to make the tackle down there. Now watch, here's Felipe Sparks here, and he's going to be in a zone defense. Here's the interception. Safety comes over here. Now he is going to hit, and then he's going to hang right in here. The receiver keeps going. Gus Frerotte just throws it right into Felipe Sparks. And watch, here's Conrad Hamilton right here. You see how Felipe Sparks just hit and just hangs there? There was no one. I have no idea who Gus Frerotte thought he was throwing to because there was no white jersey in that area.
Frerotte is the quarterback. Asher's the man on the move. Allen gets the carry, no gain.
Well, we were just saying in the first half, maybe the story was the penalties, but we didn't have any turnovers. And we come right back. We start the third quarter, and then out of his own end zone, Gus Frerotte has a big turnover.
Big turnover.
He really hasn't had a good career versus the New York Giants. You can see that in 6 games, he's only thrown 2 touchdowns. He's also thrown 7 interceptions.
And also knocked himself out last year in Washington. Here's Frerotte. Pass is picked off. Michael Strahan.
And that's that old zone blitz, right? Linemen, pass rushers hate to do it, but I'll guarantee you when they get one like Michael Strahan just got, they love it. You expect on a passing down, you expect the big defensive end to be the pass rusher. No, the big defensive end, he drops back and plays zone.
And all of a sudden, the Giants.
This is really something. Watch him here. He's just playing back. There's Michael Strahan. He's running. He's looking back. He's running across the field. Started at left end. Intercepted the ball way over on the right side. He was watching Gus Frerotte all the way and running with his guys. That is a heck of a play.
First career touchdown for Michael Strahan. And he's off to a Pro Bowl start to 1998. 12:07 left in the third quarter, and the Giants up by 2 touchdowns. 24-10, all of a sudden at Giants Stadium. Pat Summerall here with John Madden. And those turnovers, I don't care if it's week 16 or Super Bowl or first game of the season, whatever, they will kill you.
It was interesting that both coaches were talking in the first half. They were disappointed in their penalties, but penalties really don't kill you like the turnovers kill you. And then none in the first half, and then boom, right off the bat, 2 for the Giants in the second half.
Michael Strahan, his 3rd career interception, his 1st career touchdown. Now we saw again Lions, another one. This one's going to sail over the end zone and out.
Well, they do so many different things on defense now. Who would ever imagine this? I mean, here's Michael Strahan. He's right here. Here's Jamie Asher. Now, he looks like he's going to line up and rush the passer. But not only does he drop out, but he's playing man-to-man on Jamie Asher all the way across the field and gets his interception over here. Watch him. You think he's going to rush the passer. Now, there he goes man-to-man across the field. Gets a jump when he sees Gus Frerotte look there.
That's a heck of a play.
That is a heck of a play. And then if you're a lineman, what do you do after you make a heck of a play? You take the old victory line.
So Gus Frerodte's last 2 passes have been intercepted. One for a touchdown, one set up a touchdown. Terry Allen gets about 3. Remember that little engagement the Giants had in the playoffs last year when their teammates turned on each other? That's going on in front of the Redskins bench now.
Yeah, that was Marcus Patton. First of all, it looked like he was going after Gus Frerotte, and then Sharp Pordanis jumped in front, and then he got after Sharp Pordanis.
Yeah.
Like they're saying, we're out there holding these guys down on defense, and you guys are giving it to them on offense.
Frerotte. Down he goes. From behind. Strahan asking for the cheers.
Looks like Hulk Hogan. Strahan has done it all, though. We've seen him stop the run when they tried to go to that side. He shut that down. We see him rush the passer. We see him drop off and intercept the passer. Here he is on sharp Pordanis, and they try and double team him, and he just works right through the double team. Bull rushes both of them and jumps on the quarterback. And that's a football play.
This has been a tough few minutes for Gus Barat.
Not going to beat Ram in his head on the side.
He has time this time, but he can't find anybody over.
He has time, but he doesn't have confidence.
No,
I think that.
And now he's down again.
After you throw those 2 interceptions, after you hurt the left shoulder, things are just starting to unravel for Gus Barat, and he can't get it back together.
Taken down by Hamilton and Bratsky this time. Now watch his head hit the ground.
Watch him. He's really going to take it here. This is a tough one because he's going to his right, and he's going to his left and trying to throw to his right, and he just gets hammered into that turf.
The Redskins, don't forget, only have 2 active quarterbacks. Trent Green and Gus Barat.
NFL Sunday is brought to you by Ford, maker of vehicles that are built to last. By Snickers, who will be MVP? Play Snickers Shock Zone. By Nike. And by Coors Light, cross-brewed to tap the clean taste of the Rockies.
A sold-out crowd at Giants Stadium. And a few quick moments to enjoy. And they're still enjoying this 14-0 lead.
And they've been enjoying their defense for years and years and years.
Armani Toomer taken down quickly by Chris Thomas. But the Giants take over nevertheless.
There you think of all those Giant teams all the way back to Sam Huff and in the violent world of Sam Huff and Dick Mogileski and all those great Giant defenses that you were around, Andy Robustelli, and then, of course, the Lawrence Taylor years, and Banks and Harry Carson and that whole group, and now this group with Jesse Armstead and Michael Strahan. And the Giants are about defense.
Trent Green, you saw loosening up. That's Tiki Barber to the 45, picked up 4. Later today, a reminder again, it's a special edition of Fox Baseball when Martin McGuire will have the chance to etch his place in baseball history as he looks to break Roger Maris' home run record. It all starts today at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on Fox. 5-yard gain for Barber, 2nd and 5.
I was just looking at Sammy Sosa's 0 for 2 there, so I know that he doesn't have one yet.
24-10. Boy, as a coach, I was just looking at North Turner's face. As a coach, to see it unravel as quickly as it did, like it did, that has to be one of the things that really makes that trip home a long, long one.
Because he did have it going in the first half. I mean, they had one fall back, and they really did have the momentum, I thought.
Yeah, they did. .42 left in the 3rd quarter. The Giants up by 2 touchdowns. They have it at 2nd and 5 at their own 45. Cannell gives it away. Back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, you notice on this Giant offense now that Ike Hilliard isn't in there. And we got a report from the sideline that they've taken him in for x-rays on his foot and ankle.
The word on Gus Barat is that when he was down a moment ago, he re-sprained his shoulder. He's out for right now, but could possibly be back. So it looks like now it's going to be Trent Green. 4 wide receivers. Fidel. Armani Toomer. Right now for an NFL update, let's return to Kevin Frazier at the Fox Network Center in Los Angeles.
Tampa Bay finally gets on the board in Minnesota. Lorenzo Neal, 3-yard touchdown pass Bert Emanuel, Tampa Bay's top receiver, out with a sprained left ankle. It's 21-7 in the third quarter.
Back at Giants Stadium, it's 24-10, the Giants. Yeah, they picked up a first down. Canal away, hit behind the line of scrimmage, first by Hardy.
I think they're doing a pretty good job on Dana Stubblefield, though. They know that if they're going to run, they got to get those inside guys. So what they do is they start off on a double on Dana Stubblefield, and they get him, and then Ken Harvey comes in, and he makes the play. But watch the push that they get in the middle. The only thing is they just run, Ken Harvey just runs right around Robin Oben. But see the push here that they get right there? I mean, that starts it off. That should be some pretty good running if they can't get to the inside.
And Roman Oben is down. I beg your pardon, that's Way who's down. He had a bad ankle, injured it in preseason.
Yeah, to me, Charles Way is the best runner on this Giants team, and you know, we know that they have a good defense. I mean, they missed Jason Sehorn, but they're still going to be one of the top defenses in the NFL. And to go with that, I think you have to have a good running game. And to me, if the Giants are going to have a good running game, that runner is going to take the biggest part of it. Has to be Charles Way.
Way's backup is Greg Camella, a Stanford rookie who surprised a lot of people by making the team. There he is. Way trucks off.
Well, you know, two signs were good there. When Charles Way started to get up, he was smiling. And then, as you said, he trots off the field. Those are usually two pretty good indicators that the injury's not a serious thing.
Right at midfield. 8 minutes left to play in the third quarter. Here's Cannell and their whistles. Let's see if he took too long. False start.
78 offense. Moving prior to the snap. It's a 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Greg Bishop.
Yeah, Bishop's been doing a pretty good job today. He's the guy that is matched up against Dana Stubblefield, and he's had his hands full over there, but I think he's controlled that middle pretty well. Here he is right here, and I don't know that he left too early. I mean, you know, if you're going to block Dana Stubblefield, you have to get off at least when he does.
Here's Cannell back to throw, screen pass, almost picked off by the Redskins. It's intended for Barber.
Marcus Patton was right there, and if he gets that, it's a touchdown.
Gone.
That's the danger of that screen pass. Sometimes you have to throw it into a crowd, and you never want to throw into a crowd anywhere, but the worst place to throw into a crowd is when it's in your own backfield.
Yeah, that's usually not good.
It's usually gone.
Patton had a chance. It's 3rd and long now. 3rd and 17.
Danny Cannell is very comfortable in the shotgun.
Yep. Incomplete, no flag. Cannell just got rid of it. Intended for Callaway. Jesse Campbell was with him.
It looked like Cannell got hit just as he throws the ball. Here's Callaway out here, and you see now that's a zone, so he's working against the zone. He's trying to run that corner in between the defensive corner and the safety, and he has to come off there a little flat. The ball's a little high.
So Brad Maynard's back to punt it. He's gotten steadily better. Who lets it go, and the Giants will down at about the 4-yard line. And a break has started to break out, and it didn't break out. Next week, it's the big game Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. First two NFC Central rivals clash as the Buccaneers battle the Packers. Then these Giants will head west to take on the new-look Oakland Raiders. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Check your local listing.
Well, we got a new quarterback here now, Pat.
Trent Green.
Trent Green is in there. And he's been in the league for 4 years, and he's played one play. This will be his second play. He's thrown one incomplete pass. That was against the Philadelphia Eagles.
The running play on first down called to Terry Allen, gets nothing. Bratsky.
If you say now who would be the third quarterback, in case something happened there, it would be Brian Mitchell, number 30. That he's the emergency quarterback. A lot of teams will carry a third quarterback that can only be used in certain situations. The Redskins don't do that. Brian Mitchell is their third.
If Jeff Hostetler were healthy, that's Terry Allen out of the backfield, and he swings it out of bounds, but gets enough for a first.
Yeah, like you said, if Jeff Hostetler were healthy, he would be the second. Trent Green would be the third. And then when Jeff Hostetler injured his knee, they decided just to go with 2 and use Brian Mitchell.
And now Trent Green has completed his first pass in the NFL.
And he had to get rid of that one because Marcus Buckley was unblocked and was right on him as he threw that.
6:15 left in the third quarter. There's Green retreating quickly. Out to Allen, and he's cut down by Conrad Hamilton. Whoa. Replacing Jason Sehorn's a big package to replace.
I think a guy is better in football just to quietly make a play like this, like Conrad Hamilton does. Stand up and go back to the huddle.
Oh, I agree.
I don't think you have to stand up and tell the crowd to cheer for you. The crowd sees you. They know you're there, and I don't know. I think a little too much of that is seeped into our game, and I don't know that we need that. I mean, I think he's quietly doing a good job. In fact, today, with that interception, so on, kind of a great job, and just leave it at that.
People will know that. Here's Green. Caught by Chris Thomas. Good throw from Green.
It was, and that was against Conrad Hamilton, and that's why, again, you don't want to do too much celebrating when you make a good play because they're going to come right back at you. I mean, that was the Redskins' game plan, is they were going to go after and get on Conrad Hamilton, and so that's why you kind of like to keep quiet.
There was no demonstration after that play.
No. So when I had Cliff Branch once, he spiked the ball and did a dance. The first time he ever scored a touchdown, I said, "You're too small to do that." I said, "Don't do any celebrating. Give the ball to the official and come back on the sideline."
Act like you've been there, is what they say. Green going deep for Westbrook, and he's got him. Westbrook inside the 4.
Well, they saw Conrad Hamilton again. Now, that wasn't on him. I will say that this was a zone. This is what they call a cover 2. Here's Conrad Hamilton. He should get a bump here on Michael Westbrook. He doesn't get a bump. Now the safety has to come over. That's Tito Wooten. He was held, and it let Westbrook get in behind him.
First and goal, Redskins at the 4. First reception for Westbrook. He had an earlier one for a touchdown that was called back.
You see, it's right there. Hamilton didn't get a bump, and Tito Wooten didn't get over.
So there are 2 things wrong with that coverage.
Yeah, and that's a basic coverage for the Giants. That's that old cover 2 where both corners come out, both safeties take halves of the field. But they're going to make a Pro Bowl player out of this Trent Green.
Yeah.
These are the first passes that he's ever completed in his 4-year career. This is his 5th year. He's played 4 years, only had 1 pass, and that was incomplete until now. He's completed the ball as we go down the field here.
This is a Washington timeout. They'll have 2 left. The Giants have 2 left. Again, a reminder, later today, it's a special edition of Fox Baseball. Mark McGuire will have a chance, of course, to etch a place in baseball history as he looks to break Roger Maris' home run record. It all starts today at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Only on Fox. Allen is the deep back. Green. Bowie. Redskin touchdown.
Hey, North Turner was telling us last night, he said, this Trent Green, he said, I like him. He said, he hasn't played. He said, more importantly, the players like him. And he said, if I had to play him for any reason,
I'd feel good.
He said, I'd feel good about it. And I can see why. I mean, this guy's just taking the ball and marched right down the field. Back to Commentator. He was 0 for 1 in his whole career, and on this drive, he was 5 for 5 at 91 yards.
Talk about turning things around. Blanton's extra point is good. It's 24-17. 3:56 left in the third quarter. Here's a touchdown. It's not a pretty thing that Trent Green throws out there, but it's effective.
And you see he starts motion here and stops, and then he just makes a play pass, makes a good fake out there, and it throws it to the guy who's motion gun. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, you get a lot of movement down there, and then you get the motion, and then you get the play fake, and you get a lot of things going on before you throw the ball. That will usually just hold the defense a little.
Gus Barat would be in the game, except here he is making a tackle to save a touchdown. Bruised his left shoulder on that play. Then he was sacked. Took a pretty good hit here to rebruise that same shoulder. And Trent Green came on to replace him. Barat's on the headset.
And Barat really had a pretty good first half. He looked like he had some accuracy that he was looking for. And he came out and he went through that period there where he just unraveled. Some good defensive plays. That one that he threw to the Hamilton guy, I had no idea who he was throwing it to. And that other one, Michael Strahan, he just didn't expect the defensive end to be covering his tight end.
Blanton's kickoff sails to David Patton at about the 3. Out of bounds at the 30. Or inside the 30, about the 28, make it by Darrell Pound. Now the Redskins need the defense to step up. That's Ike Hilliard with the cold bucket of ice. With the X-rays, it looks like taped to the side. You know what? That's a defense. Gary Brown is the running back, and he gets short of the line of scrimmage before Wilkinson. Stubblefield and the rest of the front four stack up the middle.
Yeah, it's just how quickly you can turn a game, around like the Giants did, and then how quickly you can turn a game back into a game the way the Redskins did. The defense looked like the Giant defense just let up just enough when they saw that new quarterback in there that they let him dissect.
Yeah, Canal got away from one of the rushers, incomplete, intended for Howard Cross. There was the big cat, Big Daddy, Dan Wilkinson.
Well, here's Wilkinson here, and he's been getting that pressure. I mean, he can get in and hit a gap. You see, and once he gets in that gap, then he puts his shoulders down and bull rushes. It's a little different technique. He'll stand up, try and get in the gap. Then once he finds the gap, then he gets down, bends his knees, puts his shoulders down, and gets his push.
3rd and 10. Cannell pointing out of the shotgun. And Cannell has the pocket collapse, and down he goes. Greg Jones took him down, but there was other pressure as well.
Well, that's the best pressure. They get Greg Jones on one side, and then you get Harvey on the other side with the two tackles in the middle. So you get Harvey and Jones coming from the outside. Harvey gets the first penetration. Jones coming from the other side and really mops it up.
And Wilkinson really made him step up.
And he does that when you get that pressure, that big guy coming straight up the middle, make a guy step, then those ends can get there.
Maynard's kick is going to be handled by Brian Mitchell. Flag on the play as Mitchell gets it outside the 40. It has to be an illegal block in the back.
It has to be over here on the sideline because you see the official without the hat. When he throws the hat down, that means that the guy went out of bounds. So the same official that threw the flag right here also threw his hat. So the hat was on going out of bounds. That's not a penalty. Then after he saw someone go out of bounds, he saw someone blocked in the back. so proud of himself. He has no hat on there. He's standing right over his
Illegal
flag.
block in the back, above the waist, during the return.
Above the waist?
Yeah, illegal block in the back above the waist.
Number 89, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Any block in the back.
Well, remember at one time it was just below the waist.
Below the waist,
yeah. Yeah, and that was called a clip. And then if you didn't block them below the waist, they didn't have a clip. Then they put the new rule in that if you block them in the back, any place, it's a penalty.
That's Asher on the move, and that's a one-handed catch by Bowie to pick up an incompletion. A one-handed grab. And he got about 4.5 yards out of it. One thing you know about Trent Green already, he can throw it, and he doesn't mind throwing it.
Well, you know, and I think the other thing is that you can see that this Redskin offense has really rallied around him too. That sometimes the most popular guy on a team, at least for the fans anyway, is the backup quarterback. And sometimes that speaks through to the team, and he becomes the most popular guy on the team.
And goes Green. The ball was fumbled, and it belongs to the Giants. The arm never went forward.
That was Christian Peter that was the first guy through there. Jim Fossil was saying that we hope that we can get him more into the game.
Another turnover if the Giants got it back.
Christian Peters right here, and you're going to see that's it. They're bringing him as a pass rush. He makes a heck of a move. He comes right up the middle and hits Green just as he's throwing the ball. I mean, that is a heck of a hit by Christian Peter. I mean, he got him right at the shoulder pad, right underneath the helmet.
Recovered by Hamilton.
If they don't block better than that, Brian Mitchell is going to be their quarterback.
They say Farad could come back if something did happen to Green.
But this Giant defense is amazing. Whenever things start going, they're the cops. They take care of things.
Cannell going deep. Touchdown. Coomer. Armani Coomer from Danny Cannell. The first play after the turnover.
Their defense does it for them. Their defense goes in. Their defense turns the ball over, gets the ball back, and then Danny Cannell comes in there and says he'll do something, and he throws the ball in the end zone perfectly to Armani Coomer. But that's team football. You know, defense do what they have to, and then offense take advantage of it.
Well, we saw the extra point is good. It's 31-17.
Well, the one thing that they've had is pretty good protection today. You know, if you can get those guys in the middle and hold them up and then get a little movement, like right here, like that bootleg, and you give Danny Cannell time like that to find the Armani Coomer, he's going to throw touchdown.
Miscues today by the Redskins. A touchdown nullified by penalty. That's a Westbrook early. Interception nullified by a penalty. The Giants scored a touchdown. 2 interceptions. One by Strahan. That one there. Touchdown pass from Cannell to Coomer. Got up 2 more touchdowns.
And then the fumble, the turnover that they just had. And to me, you can say that they're miscues of the Washington Redskins. But the other way you can say it is that it's great defense by the Giants. I mean, this is how this team is built. I mean, look, they got 21 points off of turnovers. But now you say on one hand, or turning hand, that the Redskins gave the turnovers. You say on the other hand, I think a big part of it, that Giants defense forced those turnovers. Now, look at the way Christian Peter just came up the middle and hit Green. I mean, that's a forced turnover.
Now we saw the kickoff. This one can be returned. James Thrash. Thrash comes out of the pack. Outside the 40, good return. Tonight, after an all-new World's Funniest, it's an all-new Holding the Baby. Then a can't miss Simpson. The smash hit That 70s Show, followed by The X-Files. All start tonight at 7, 6 Central here on Fox. (31-17). Pat Summerall with John Madden, Giants Stadium in the Meadowlands.
And everyone said this was going to be a low-scoring game. The great thing about the NFL, you don't know until you play it.
Terry Allen.
Hey, you talk about a hot day and being a special teams player. Watch Scott Gallion. This is what a day is in the life of a special teams player. If you're the one man, you have to take on the wedge. I mean, he completely disappeared. And it looked like Scott Gallion was just put in that turf, but he was underneath the stadium somewhere.
Total darkness.
And then he has to get ready for third down because he's a nickel linebacker.
Green pass complete. Wesley Shepard, the intended receiver. Ball was there. So was the defender.
Well, the Redskins did an interesting thing in their travel here to get to the game as they took a train. And, that kind of, when you think of the league starting and you think of tradition and these two teams playing 66 years against each other, and taking a train, that'd be kind of neat.
They had 7 cars.
Oh, here it is right here as we speak about it.
You used to do that.
Yeah, that's the way, before I got my bus, this is the way I traveled. Most of these guys have never been on a plane in their life.
Yeah.
Went from the train to the bus to the stadium here.
That used to be the way that the East Coast teams travel all the time.
Yeah, that's Sam Garnes, the starting strong safety for the Giants.
Strong applies to him, too.
Yeah, they have a pretty good backup, though, in Percy Ellsworth. I mean, you don't like to say that you have to use your depth, because then once you use your depth, then you don't have depth anymore, and that's kind of where the Giants are hurting now. I mean, they lose Sehorn, and then they have to start to go to their depth. And look at this. I mean, I don't know. These are the toughest conditions to play in.
120 degrees. And it's been that way. In fact, that's the warmest we've seen on that thermometer down in our left-hand end zone. That spray continues on the quarterback, Danny Cannell.
And there's an old saying that if you get thirsty or if you get dehydrated, it's too late to get fluid then. And that's what they're trying to do now. I mean, they're trying to stay cool. They're trying to get as much fluids in their bodies as they can. But really, when you get that feeling, it's too late. It's already happened to you. And, you have to build up fluid.
Yeah.
You have to start on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. I don't think they did that. You see right here, there's Sam Garnes right there, and I don't know what happened to him because he was just standing there, and all he did was come and pick up the football.
I think he just ran out of fluid.
Well, that could happen.
Yeah.
That's one of the things, cramping up, dehydration. Yeah. That's what comes when you just run out of fluid.
He seems okay. He needs a drink of water.
Yeah, but it's too late for the drink of water. I mean, the drink of water. I'm not a doctor.
You're not?
No, you always say that.
I thought you might be.
No, I'm not a doctor. But I do know that when you get to this position, it's too late to put the fluid.
3rd and 5. Redskins. Again, Gus Perrott is out through his left shoulder. Trent Green is the Washington quarterback. Picked up only a yard. Stephen Alexander was the receiver. Bratsky was out to help out with a tackle.
You see Joe Patton, the right guard, was out there blocking. That's one thing these Redskins do is the guards can run. Of course, when you get out there and you make a block and you don't get a first down, you say, well, what good is it? Well, it's not any good on that play, but it could be good as the season goes on and you're running sweeps and those kind of slip screens.
Monty Toomer back deep. Turk the punt.
Monty Toomer's having a pretty big day. He He went to high school in Concord, California, De La Salle. It was the #1 high school in the country last year.
Must be close to you.
I knew him when he was a kid.
We're into the third quarter. Score is 31-17. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after word from your local Fox station. (31-17). Manhattan in the hazy background. We're in the middle lane. Turk gets it off. Toomer signals fair catch and makes it at the 18-yard line, maybe the 17.
You know, those Giants fans on that side, on the sun side, they have it tough because we have the thermometer down there. It says 120 degrees. So the one sitting in the sun, that's half the stadium. They're sitting at 120 degrees. Now the one on this side, sitting in the shade, it could be like, what, maybe 90, 100?
I think we looked earlier in the game at the thermometer on this side, and it was 90-something. But over in the sun, it's hot. Barber. Right now for an NFL update, let's return to Kevin Frazier at the Fox Network Center in Los Angeles.
Gentlemen, fireworks at Lambeau Field. Detroit's Terry Fair returns the kickoff 101 yards. But don't blink. Packers answer. Roel Preston rumbles 99. Green Bay answers 31-19 in this one. Passing control. Let's go fast to Patton Johnson.
They got some highlights going. This is Charles Way out of the backfield. First down, Giants from Canal.
Yeah,
Jesse Campbell made the stop.
I was just saying, that's what we were talking about earlier, that you see more big plays in the first regular season game on special teams than you'll see the rest of the season. Sometimes in the first couple of weeks. And that's where you get those big kickoff returns, big punt returns. You also get blocks. You get block punts for touchdowns. Those kinds of things really seem to happen early in the season.
31-17 here. The Giants leading. Gets to Barber. Ball loose, but he was down.
Well, we were talking to Jim Fossil about Tiki Barber. He was saying that when they drafted him, they didn't draft him to be a first down back. I mean, they had drafted him to be a pass receiving back and, you know, and a third down back and those kinds of things. Not to be like he's doing right here, getting in the I formation and just pounding up the middle. But if Charles Way can't do it,
flag on the play.
I was just going to say, if Charles Way can't do it, and Tyrone Whitley isn't even active, and I don't know that Gary Brown is the guy, then maybe Tiki Barber has to be that first down runner.
He does. 78-65 offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Ron Stone.
I think Ron Stone and Greg Bishop and Lance Scott have really done a pretty good job in there against these two Redskin tackles because they've had their hands full. I mean, everyone knows the Giants do that. If we're going to do anything, we got to get that middle block. We have to be able to take care of this area if we're going to have any success.
Second and 9. Canal across. It makes a diving reception, and now they say incomplete. It hit the turf. Howard Cross doesn't think that's correct.
That's the second argument Howard Cross has been in today. Remember early in the game, there was a pass interference against him. They didn't call that. They're going to say on this one they didn't have the ball. I like the way Danny Cannell gets back and gets rid of the ball quickly.
Well, they're right. He didn't have the ball.
He's still arguing about it, though.
Yeah.
He has a little help from Cannell. Cannell said, well, from where I was, it looked good. I saw him catch it, put it in his hands. Did it bounce there, you think?
That's still loose.
The ball hit the ground. Incomplete pass.
Howard Cross is still mad. You know, he's usually a guy that doesn't have that kind of demeanor, but he's still upset about that one because as a tight end, Howard Cross is more of a blocker, and he doesn't he doesn't get a lot of passes thrown to him. So when he does, he wants to get credit. He wants to get credit for it. If he thinks he got a catch, he wants to get credit for a catch because, you know, in the most, I mean, he'll catch 2 or 3 passes in a game.
At the most.
I don't see it bouncing there. You think it bounced?
I think it got loose.
I'm kind of with Howard. I always take the player's side on it.
Chris Callaway is run out of bounds. There's a flag on the play way downfield.
Yeah, I like the way Cannell, he really looks comfortable. He was a little tight, I think, earlier in the game, but in the second half, he's come out and he looks very, very comfortable.
You know, his techniques are very good.
Number 22, defense. That's a 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Jamel Williams, Paul, way downfield, out of the picture entirely. Well, you're talking about Cannell. He gets the ball up. He's ready to throw all times.
Well, you know, he's been around pro football for a long time. His dad is the team doctor of the Miami Dolphins. So, as a kid, he used to go to, you know, Miami Dolphins practice, and he'd been watching Dan Marino for a long time.
And don't forget where he played in college at Florida State. And they throw it a lot.
I think that's part of the reason that he feels so comfortable is that, you know, in college, that you know he played in the shotgun, and with Jim Fossil in this giant offense, a big part of it is the shotgun. So when he gets back there, he's been there before, and I think he sees a lot better in the shotgun.
Second down, it's Barber headed outside. Dragged down by Dishman.
And I think right there is the reason that you don't want Tiki Barber to be your pounding back.
Your first down back.
He's not a guy, and again, I say this, but, you know, the giant, big offensive lineman, a big fullback, a good defense. You got to pound that thing up in there between the tackles.
12 minutes left to play. 31-17 Giants over the Redskins. Cannell will operate from the shotgun this time. Back on each side. Barber to his left. Barber swings out of the backfield. The pass is picked off by the Redskins, by Jesse Campbell, and a fumble. And the ball goes out of bounds. Redskin ball. They had possession last.
Just saying how comfortable he looked and how comfortable he looked in the shotgun. And here he was too comfortable. Watch, he's looking all the way. And he really throws into double coverage. There's a corner and a safety. He watches his receiver all the way. The safety, Jesse Campbell's just watching him all the way and jumps in front of that thing.
The second thing is getting too confident, thinking you can get a ball in a space like that.
Yeah, he wasn't. And maybe you can get a ball in that space if you come back to it. But if you watch it all the way, you
can't. The ball went out of bounds backwards. Last team to possess the ball is Washington. First down.
So the Redskins get a break and a turnover. They take over. 11:36 left.
NFL Sunday is brought to you by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. Let's talk about your gateway. By Pizza Hut, home of America's favorite pan pizza. And by the U.S. Navy. Navy, let the journey begin.
Back at Giants Stadium, the NFL on Fox, opening Sunday. The 79th season of the NFL. Hand off to Terry Allen. Try to cut it back. Cut down by Conrad Hamilton.
You know, I'm looking at the Giants standing in the sun on their side. Isn't there a story that goes with that? Something about why the Giants, the home team, takes the sunny side of the field? Isn't there a story about Wellington Mara when he was a kid or something?
If there is, I don't know about it.
Yeah, what it is we could throw this question on the internet, but I think they were in the shady side. I think he got a cold, and his mother wanted the Giants to be on the sunny side of the field. I think that's the story.
A flag on the play as Green goes down. The rush by Bratsky and Keith Hamilton. Going to be holding against the Redskins. They'll probably turn this penalty down.
Michael Strahan is one of those talkers, and he's out here, and he's been doing a lot of talking. He wasn't in on the play, but he was out there talking to the Redskin offensive line and to the officials like it's against the Redskins.
Now the Giants, Wellington Mary got a cold, is that right?
It was either him or one of his kids, and then his
Holding.
wife or mother didn't want him in the shade.
Offense.
All I can tell you is, I know when I was playing here, we were on a cold side. A lot of times.
Well, yeah, no, but you could be on the cold side, but were you on the shady side?
We were on the shady side.
Yeah, well, then it was after that, and maybe it was one of Wellington's sons then who got a cold because the Giants are on the sunny side.
On third down. Pass goes deep, and the pass is caught. That's a heck of an effort by Leslie Shepard and by Trent Green. Under heavy pressure. Somehow he got the ball there, and Shepard got back to it. 28-yard pickup.
See, now here you see the Redskins up here and the defense down there, and you see Shepard. Here's the protection on the top. Shepard is just running a corner pattern. Pretty good protection, but Green gets hit just as he throws. It's amazing he completed that. Look
Green again, and pressure from the backside. He just won't go down.
That was Bratsky. He was the first guy. He went right through Brad Badger again. Badger's been having a little tough time over there with Bratsky. You know, just with a power rush because he gives a little too much, and Bratsky's just too big and strong for him, and he just runs right through it. Watch his backside. Here's Bratsky here. Here's Brad Badger here. And again, Bratsky doesn't take a shortcut. You see, he just goes right into him with both hands, and then, boom, he takes that shortest distance thing. Look at Bratsky's playing pretty good today.
Yes, he is. 9.5 minutes left. Screen pass is caught by Terry Allen.
There's Bratsky again. He was in the zone block.
If he doesn't make that play, he'll move the sticks.
This is a heck of a play. You got to watch what he did here. He's lined up here at the defensive end. He's going to drop off in coverage. You see him drop off right here? He's dropping off. Now a screen pass to his side. That's his responsibility. He breaks through two blockers and makes that tackle. That's it.
Wow.
And here your defensive end drops off in coverage, and they happen to throw a screen to the side he's dropping off to.
There's a blitz. Pass caught. That's by Chris Thomas, short of a first down. The blitz got to Trent Green, but he got rid of it.
And that was Scott Gallion. He's the nickel linebacker. He's going to come right outside of Bratsky. You see here he comes right from this side. You see that backside now. Trent Green had to throw the ball when he threw it. Big down here, fourth down.
They need about 3.
These fans know it too. The most knowledgeable defensive fans of football right here.
Terry Allen's deep. They'll have the first down. Westbrook came open over the middle, and Green got it to him. What do you think the sentiment's going to be in Washington for Trent Green to be the starter after this?
Well, you know, the sentiment in Washington was kind of against Gus Frerotte all preseason, so it has to be for Trent Green. And after the way he's hung in there and the things that he's done, you have to say maybe you have to go with him for a while.
Maybe so. First down, Redskins at the 13. Green to Terry Allen. Allen is inside the 10, about the 8.
Although I'll tell you, as a coach, you hate to have a quarterback controversy the first week of the season. I mean, you hate to have, if you're going to have a position unsettled, the last one you want unsettled is your quarterback.
And as long as I've been around the game and you've been around the game, if there's a quarterback controversy, you don't have much of a team. You just can't satisfy. You start trying to satisfy and you've lost it all.
Roy's trying to hurry him up because he knows he needs a few scores here.
A flag on the play. That's Bowie made the reception, and somebody had him by the face mask. Another good play by the quarterback.
I see, and Norv is thinking right now when he was telling him to hurry up that he's not thinking in terms of scoring a touchdown here. He's thinking in terms of scoring a quick touchdown here.
Face mask, number 55, defense. If he half the distance to goal, first down.
See, because what he needs here is he needs a score, and then he has to get the ball back and get another score to tie. They're 14 points down, so they need 2 touchdowns. So they're thinking now they're into a hurry-up already with 6 minutes and 32 seconds left to go. They're in a hurry-up offense because they're hurrying up to get 2 touchdowns.
First and goal. Bowie comes in motion. Green's going to throw if he has time. Does. Touchdown. Wide open is Alexander.
I tell you, Bowie made it. I mean, he made it look easy the way he just come around there. Trent Green, he just came around that corner. Alexander's wide open in the end zone. He's going to take the ball and he's going to roll out to his right. You see a roll out. He's looking right here. It looked like he was looking for Terry Allen at first, but he has pretty good speed. He outruns that rush. He finds Alexander right in the back end of the end zone. No one was covering either.
13 out of 14, 2 touchdowns. Extra point by Blanton is good. And it's 31-24 Giants.
Let's watch the touchdown again here. You see they get a lot of action going to this side. They get motion, then they get flat. Then the third guy becomes the tight end, Alexander, who gets the touchdown. You see the motion here, that takes off the outside guy. The second guy takes off the second guy, and Alexander, who is the third guy, ends up in the corner of the end zone.
Blanton's kickoff sails down to David Patton. It creeps to about the 17-yard line, where the Giants need some first down. James Thrash down to take him down. 31-24. Back at Giants Stadium, 31-24. Actual time for the Giants defense on the field. That's Jerry Brown.
You know, the Redskins are in an interesting defense now, Pat, here. Is they're playing a 4-4-3. They now Chris Dishman is going in, but they played that first down, and you're going to see that they had four defensive linemen, 4 linebackers. They had 8 guys up here in front, and they only played with 3 defensive backs. So that defense was to stop the run.
And now they've got the regular personnel in. And Cannell is going to throw. To Charles Way. And he's taken down quickly by Jesse Campbell.
You know, one of the guys that they've stayed away from today is Darrell Green. And isn't he an amazing guy? I mean, he's in his 16th year, has played more games than any other Redskin. I saw him yesterday, and I found out one thing you never say to an old guy is you never say still, because I said...
Well, you never say he's old.
No, I know, but you don't say that. But I said, hey, I was watching you on film, and you can still run. And he said, what do you mean still? Where'd that come from? He said, I couldn't.
Cannell has time, but the ball is batted backwards. Clutch play by The Redskin defense, our thanks to Captain Chambers and the entire crew of the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes for today's overhead shots. Goodyear Blimps are now in their 4th decade of live sports coverage.
I'll tell you, that was a big play back there because we talked about, you know, the hurry-up offense and what the Redskins had to do, and they had to think in terms of 2 touchdowns. They got their 1, and now they're going to get the ball back with 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Minus whatever the punt takes.
Not his best, sails out of bounds at the 32-yard line of Washington, so the Redskins will take over at that point. 31-24. 4:42 left to play. 31-24 Giants. Marcus Buckley. Earlier report is he has a hip pointer. He's being x-rayed. The Redskins have the ball. Down a touchdown.
Of course, that affects the Giants' depth because he was taking Corey Miller's place.
There's Trent Green with protection and a lot of it. Terry Allen.
Not only a lot of it, Pat, that was way too good a protection, or way too long to let a quarterback stand back here.
You have to believe the heat's taking its toll on that defense.
It is. That's what I was talking about earlier, that, you know, specifically it's going to be in the 4th quarter. And look at these guys. They just can't get it going anymore to rush. I mean, he could have stood back there all day. That's like practice. And he looked left, looked middle, finally threw it all the way to the right.
Whitmer is one of the linebackers. Here's Green. Here comes the blitz. He gets rid of it. That's Stephen Alexander, and Alexander gets into Giant territory before he's knocked out of bounds inside the 40. He saw the blitz coming.
And a good block by Michael Westbrook downfield.
Well, North Turner told us if this guy had to play quarterback, he felt good about it. He's got reason to feel better about it now.
And like I said, it's not only North feeling good and the fans feeling good, but maybe the most important thing you can tell his teammates feel good.
Hand off to Allen. He's cut down quickly. Clock running at 4:25 left to play. Tackled by Bratsky.
Terry Allen cut back where there was no cutback. I mean, that's one thing that Terry Allen likes to do is cut back. And I think as a running back, the more tired you get, the more you cut back. Early in the game when you're fresh, you tend to bounce out. Terry Allen was bouncing out with success earlier, and now that's the long way to go, so he's cutting back more when there is no cutback.
As hot as it is, there's not much bounce left. Here is Green. Pass behind Chris Thomas, who I believe lost it in the sun.
As you said, it was still behind him, too. It would have been a heck of a catch by Chris Thomas if he makes this play. Here's Chris Thomas right here in the slot. You see, he makes the out. The ball is delivered right now. And if that ball had been delivered towards his right hand rather than his left, that would have been a completion. Gardner brought it in anyway. Chris Thomas, kid out of Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo.
And a good player. One of those North Turner was talking about. 3rd down. Here comes the safety blitz. They pick it up so far. Green gets rid of it. The pass is almost intercepted by Strahan again.
And again, the guy that made him get rid of it was Chad Bratsky. Because he was trying to run out here to the right. Bratsky has good speed. I mean, he's over here. Now watch what he does from this backside. I mean, he comes here. We talk about how tired these guys are. Watch Bratsky right now just take off and make that dive and make Trent Green through it when he had to. There's Felipe Sparks out here on Michael Westbrook. He wasn't going to let him get the ball because he was up on him. And you saw what happens when you do get the jam.
A big 4th and 9 for Washington. No blitz. Incomplete. A pack of Giants all around Westbrook.
I was surprised that the Redskins went for that there. I mean, I think that would have been a a good time to punt the ball away because with 3 minutes and 40 seconds and 2 timeouts, you can get the ball back again. Now the Giants are going to get pretty good field position. See the ball? This is a ball thrown into a crowd. I mean, that is Trent Green trying to force something in where the coverage isn't letting you have it. I know Michael Westbrook is your go-to guy, but you can't go to your go-to guy when there's 4 jerseys of the other color on.
Can't. They had him surrounded. First down. And Brown gets good yardage before he's stopped by Stanley Richards. A pickup of about 9.
And now what the Giants have to think is they have to think of slow down the tempo, slow down the pace, run time off the clock, but you still have to get first downs. That's what they didn't do the last time they had the ball.
Second and short now coming up. A lot of time in the huddle.
Yeah, they're going to take all the time they can off this play clock. I mean, they're getting it down to right now. It's 9 seconds. They'd like to snap the ball around 2.
That's when they got it done. That's Brown again. He'll get a first down. Tuesday, history will be made on Fox. The season premieres of King of the Hill and Costello, the breakout comedy of the new season, or Chase for 62. The baseball chase for 62 continues with McGuire and the Cardinals versus Sosa and the Cubs. It all starts Tuesday at 8 Eastern, and it's only on Fox.
You know, the Redskins have to think that they really have 3 timeouts. They have 2 timeouts left, plus they're going to get a time at the 3-minute warning. Now the Giants had a first down. So they get the 2 timeouts they have, and then at the 2-minute warning, they're going to get another timeout, which gives them 3. So they either have to start using them now or wait to the 2 minutes. I like to take 1 or 2 before the 2 minutes, then get the 2 minutes.
Clock is running now with 2.5 minutes left. Giants 31, Redskins 24. Again, they take their time.
I would take a timeout if I were the Redskins after this play.
Brown taken down by Marcus Patton. Short gain, and now they do what you said.
Yeah, because see, you get this timeout, then you get the 2 minutes, then you get your last timeout. And again, had they not gone for it on 4th down, the field position would have been important. So that's the Redskins side of it. The Giants side of it, when they start to take their timeouts, now you need 1 more first down, then you can run out the clock. You know, in that story I was saying, Pat, it was true. It was in 1925.
That was before my time.
Yeah, it was before your time. Wellington Mara was on the Giants sideline, and they were in the shade, and he got a cold. And his mother told his dad, don't put the Giants in the shade anymore, put them in the sun.
That had to be at the Polo Grounds.
That was in 1925,
yeah.
Wherever they played in 25.
Polo Grounds, yeah. Later today, it's a special edition of Fox Baseball. Martin McGuire will have a chance to add some place in baseball history, of course, as he looks to break Roger Maris' home run record. All starts today at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on Fox. Brown. That 2-minute warning flashed on the scoreboard now with the Giants up by a touchdown. 2 minutes to play. The president and co-CEO of the Giants, Wellington Mara.
The Redskins are confused now. They finally got Chris Fishman in there.
The handoff is to Brown. Breaks 1.
That was a big play.
But doesn't get the first down.
If he doesn't get the first down, it's going to be interesting here. The Redskins still have 1 timeout. They'll take their timeout.
Only 1.
Right, they'll make the Giants punt. Now, if the Giants punt, you get another timeout at change of possession. So really, you know, when they had 2, they really had 4 because they got the 2, they got the 2 minute, and now if they stop them and the Giants punt, they'll get a change of possession timeout.
Now they got no timeouts left. punt. That change of possession you pointed out. Today's game is being produced by Bob Sinner, directed by Sandy Grossman. The associate director is Mike Roy. Broadcast associates Fran Morrison and Charles McDonald. Technical producers Bob Muller. Studio was produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. Studio was here today for the most part. The associate director is Jennifer Love. Senior producer is Bill Brown. The executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. And they are going to punt. The Giants are.
And with Brian Mitchell back there, they're not going to give him a ball to return. This is one that you'd like to kick inside the 10. And I would think that the Redskins will probably come on some form of punt block here. With all these guys in here, jammed in here.
A minute 45 left to play. And here they come. And they don't get there. And it's a good punt by Maynard. The ball goes into the end zone. It's a wrestling match down about the 2-yard line.
So now the Redskins get the ball back and they have all their downs, but they don't have any timeout. They have a minute and 34 seconds. Now you go back and not second guess them, but had they not gone for it on 4th down, they probably would have had 20 to 30 more yards of field position is what that difference would have been.
Did you notice who the deep back was on that punt return? Darrell Green.
Oh, was it Darrell Green back there?
Yep.
I remember in the old days when Joe Gibbs was coaching the Redskins, you could always tell when in his mind it was a big game or a big play when he put Darrell Green back as a punt return.
Remember, will you ever forget that punt return in Chicago? Pass is caught up the middle. That's not the spot you want by Brian Mitchell.
No, the Giants are in a soft defense. They're in their prevent defense. They're just giving them a 3-man rush. You can see how loose they are in here.
Spike it. That's Asher who gets the first down. And now the Redskins are going to hurry up again with a minute 5 and the clock running. Now he says, let's stop it. 57 seconds left. Giants 31, Washington 24.
Because now they get a chance to call a play. See, before that, Trent Green was up on the ball, and he was having to call his own plays, and now he has time where they can talk into his headset. Trent Green played 4 years with no experience in this one half of football. He's getting a whole heck of a lot of experience.
In front of 80,000 and a lot of folks watching on TV. Going to have to throw it in a hurry. For Shepard, incomplete. The pressure has Felipe Sparks back with him.
Yeah, and that play didn't have a chance because Flippy Sparks had great coverage here. And he was running stride for stride. There was nothing there. What they tried to do was get one of that old thing that years ago Joe Theismann used to do. They called it dash, where he would just get the ball and come out here and dash and then try and throw a deep one down there. But they didn't have a chance because the coverage was too great.
Third down. Almost intercepted by Sparks. Couple of big plays by Felipe Sparks.
Felipe Sparks has had some big plays today. You know, that interception that they got, the Hamilton got, that Felipe Sparks kind of made that thing happen. And coverage in there in the up, and here he's looking at the quarterback all the way, gets a good jump on it, lays out, almost comes up with that thing.
Chad Bratsky encouraging the crowd to make a little noise. 3-man rush.
Bratsky knows that the Giant defense needs one more play today.
He's had a heck of a day. 4th down. Green fumbles it, now picks it up, and now he's going to take off. They say it was a pass. Incomplete, and the game is just about over.
Well, all the Giants have to do now is bring their offense in and just kneel down, and the game is over.
Ball slipped out of his hand, bounced right back to him.
Well, again, if his arm is going forward,
his
arm is going forward, They call that an incomplete pass.
Right.
Because if that were a fumble, you know, in the last 2 minutes, the only guy that can advance a fumble in the last 2 minutes is the guy that fumbled it.
And in that case,
so that
it would
part
have
of
been
it,
okay.
he could have done that. That would have been okay. You know, we expected a battle today, and we sure got one.
But we expected low scoring.
Yeah, a low-scoring battle, a defensive, a fight, and we had all those things. But who would have thought it would have been 31-24?
But for the turnovers, it would have been low scoring.
Yeah, but I think the turnovers are part, at least, of Giant football. I mean, Giant football, Giant defense create turnovers.
And they created 3 crucial scores today, and that held up.
You know, so far, the Giants under Jim Fossil have not lost a game in the NFC.
That's amazing. They were tied by Washington last year. They beat Washington today, 31-24.